Today we're doing a guide on Solis. Previously I played her for a week, and then behind the scenes I played her a whole lot more ever since that video. So here are 5 tips that I've picked up on that help influence the round whenever you play Solis. Before we get into it, leave a like on the video and subscribe if this video is helpful, and a little follow on Twitch as well. Been streaming a lot over there. So tip number 1, we're going to start off with the loadout. The P90 is the gun you want to go for. The shotgun is just trash. Out of all the shotguns, it's probably the worst one. The P90 on the other hand is better suited for most of the situations we're going to be in during the round. One example being runouts, but I'll go into a bit more detail on that later. As for the gadget, I'd say go for impacts straight away. Don't worry about the bulletproof camera. Now we go on to our second tip, which is to drone hunt. More importantly, in the prep phase. It's important to hunt for these drones in the prep phase because all of them are active at this point. All of the attackers are droning, trying to find out where site is and what the site setup is looking like. You can stop the attackers from knowing if you've got electric or you're running trap operators. It's really important that you stop them from getting intel so early on, because obviously attackers can repick their characters. So it's better to keep them in the dark, not knowing what operators your team are running and what the site is looking like, so they can't adapt to it. The only problem here is that when you start taking out a couple of drones, they may communicate to the rest of the team they've got a Solis, so they're going to start hiding drones. So you have to be quick hunting these drones down after you've taken out the first 1 or 2. You may notice they'll start hiding their drones outside of the building. Sometimes they do this quite lazily and you can actually still get them from like windows and doors. So if you see a drone outside, it's worth just checking if you've got a line of sight on the drone anyway. Some drones will also find themselves hidden in corners, behind objects, places you're not going to be able to see them or shoot them. Try not to waste too much time trying to get an angle on these, and please don't waste your impacts on the drones. They'll be much more important later on in the round. So that is our second tip, and just to summarize, it is to drone hunt in prep phase. Don't worry about setting up a site, that is for your team. Now we'll move on to tip number 3, and as we get into the action phase, this becomes important. You need to use your scanner wisely, because your scanner isn't unlimited use, it has a battery. You want to always keep a little bit of charge in it, so you're not unable to use it. What I would say is avoid using it very early on in the round. I'd do maybe a little scan around the map, just see if they're using any drones still quickly, but you're going to need to let them have some time to actually get to the building, because the round's just started basically. Now tip number 4, and it is an important one. You have to be careful of your counters. Solis is a very powerful operator, but she still has counters. And to name one quickly, it is IQ. IQ's scanner can detect 20 meters away, while Solis can detect 15 meters. But even then, Solis can be used to counter IQ. This is what makes Solis so powerful. If you play Solis right, the IQ is going to do nothing to counter you. And this comes hand in hand with the previous tip with using your gadget wisely. Obviously, if you're going to be sitting on your gadget for most of the round, IQ is going to easily detect you. And Solis's other counters are roam clearers, so Jackal and Dockerbee, and the rest of the team just trying to drone you out and pinch you. The thing is with Solis again, she also counters Jackal. When Jackal's using his ability, the goggles, you have walls on him basically. You can see his every movement. So again, not the best counter to Solis, but it's still there to keep in mind. So the only other thing you have to worry about, and that is just people droning you out and pinching you as a team. If you suspect this early on, then you'll be able to retreat into a different place. As a defender, you're going to try and preserve life as much as you can and waste as much of the attacker's time as you can. Now we move on to our next tip, which is to do with what we've just spoken about, and it's getting used to the roam game. When you're playing Solis, the best and most efficient way to play her is to roam. Her main role is to gather intel, but to do this, you need to go around the map safely. And when I say this, I don't mean you have to stay at the opposite end of the map, because then you'd just be useless. What I'm saying is gather intel, but you don't need to engage in every gunfight. Sometimes it is best to preserve life and also waste the attacker's time. I actually like to play Solis quite aggressive because you're an intel op. You have all the information that you need. Let's say if they're playing outside, they're repelling windows. I can check runouts to see if they've put any sort of nomads or claymores outside. I can run out with confidence and get the kill. Which is why I think this intel that you get with Solis only makes you more confident when you engage in these gunfights. So yes, I said to play smart with Solis, don't engage in every gunfight, but do feel free to get some picks. Don't play passive for the entire round. This operator is perfect for runouts. I have loads of examples of this happening. You can see if people are on their phone outside, there's any claymores ready. It gives you the perfect setup to just jump out, get an easy kill, and then carry on with the rest of the round. You can also do this inside as well. Again, you can gather the intel to see if they're on their drone. They could be droning from a certain room. That then gives you an idea of where they're pushing from and where you can set up to ambush them. I said this in my pulse guide as well. Check that out if you'd like. Getting used to the roam game, it's about playing smart and also playing aggressive as well. You don't need to engage in every single gunfight, but it is good to engage in some of them. You can catch attackers out whilst their guard is down when they're droning, just by gathering that intel with your scanner. You just need to know where to push from and when. And that is something you just get over time by learning how attackers are going to react, how aggressive they play, and that also depends on what elo you're in as well. Now, my last two tips are kind of similar, so I'm going to start off with the first one, and that is to play above or below sight. This I'd recommend doing towards the end of the round. So this is when attackers are closing into sight. You should be in the area above or below sight, gathering the intel for the rest of your team. You can tell the rest of your team where they're droning from, what flank setups they have, which ultimately is going to give you and the rest of your team an idea what their execute is looking like and where they're going to be planting. Ideally, towards the end of the round, you know the attackers are closing on the site. Be in the area, constantly gathering that intel for you and the rest of your team. There's so many sites where you can do this safely from below or above, which is why I say play above or below sight. It's what's going to keep you safe. As we're getting towards the end of the round, they're not going to be trying to roam clear at this point. They're going for sight. If you're playing above or below, you've got this massive advantage for when they go for plant, which leads me into my final tip, which is play for diffuser. If the attackers are managing to get onto site, communicate with your team that you are playing above or below sight and let them get a diffuser plant down, because you're going to be there to stop that. I have won countless rounds by doing this, by just letting them come onto site to plant. It gives them that false sense of, oh yeah, we've won. When the attackers are planting, Solis, she can see exactly where the attackers are planting. Now, these are perfect opportunities to use your P90, shoot through the floor, the ceiling, wherever you're playing from, to get an easy kill and deny the plant. As we get into higher elo, they're going to start to adapt pretty quickly. They know, okay, Solis is playing below. We need to plant on top of something. These are where the impacts are going to become very useful. So even if they're planting on top of something, say a desk, you can use your impacts to create a line of sight. So although you can't shoot directly underneath, if you get a diagonal angle line of sight onto them, you can still deny the plant. And by the time that you've already taken out the first couple of attackers trying to plant the diffuser, and they've started adapting, they're going on top of things now, and you're impacting, you're creating more lines of sight on them, they are panicking, they are running out of time, you still might have a defender left on site playing life. They can also be sort of pushing the attackers, stopping them from planting the diffuser, and it creates a really uncomfortable situation for the attackers when they're being attacked from above or below and on site as well, and it kind of just makes objective a trap, basically. Anyway, that has been my guide for Solis. I've got so many tips. I've tried to keep this guide simple and easy to understand as well, but I'm sorry if I've rambled too much that you didn't understand it. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you're unsure about. I'd be happy to clarify a few things. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video or it was helpful, leave a like and subscribe as well. I'd really appreciate it. And give me a little follow on Twitch. I've been streaming there so much recently. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.